court. In addition, Shila and Baekje, both under threat from Goguryeo, asked for help against Goguryeo as all three Korean kingdoms wanted to seize other people's lands to rule the peninsula, and tried to achieve these goals by favoring a tract aside. Goguryeo expansion and efforts to equalize relations with the Sui dynasty conflicted and increased tensions. In 598, Goguryeo launched a preemptive attack on Liaozi, leading to the Battle of Linagan, but was defeated by Sui forces. This prompted Emperor Pyongyang to launch a counterattack by land and sea that ended in disaster for Sui. Sui's most disastrous campaign was against Goguryeo in 612, in which Sui mobilized 30 divisions, about 1,133,800 combat troops, according to Sui dynasty history. Along the Goguryeo line of fortifications on the Liao River, a contingent of 9 army divisions, some 305,000 troops, bypassed the main defense lines and marched toward the Goguryeo capital of Pyongyang to reach the Sui naval forces with reinforcements. However, Goguryeo was able to defeat the Sui navy, so when the Sui 9 Division Army finally reached Pyongyang, they did not have enough supplies for a long siege. Sui's forces retreated, but General Olgi Mondiak led Goguryeo forces to victory by luring Sui into an ambush outside Pyongyang. At the Battle of Salso, Goguryeo soldiers released water from a dam that split the Sui army and cut off their escape route. It is said that of the 305,000 main soldiers of the 9th Sui army, only 2,700 escaped to China. The battles of 613 and 614 were cancelled after launch. The Battle of 613 ended with Sui General Yang Zuungan's rebellion against the young emperor, while the wars of 614 ended after Goguryeo offered a truce and returned Husijing, a fugitive Sui, a general who fled to Goguryeo. Emperor Yang later executed Husi. Emperor Yang planned another attack on Goguryeo in 615, but was never able to carry it out due to the worsening Sui internal situation. Sui was weakened by rebellion against Emperor Yang's rule and his failed attempts to conquer Goguryeo. They could not attack further because the provinces in the Sui heart did not send logistical support. Emperor Yang's disastrous defeats in Korea contributed greatly to the collapse of the Sui dynasty. In the winter of 642, King Yongnyo became concerned about Yeon Gusamun, one of Goguryeo great nobles, and conspired with other officials to kill him. However, Yeon Gusamun received word of the plot and killed Yongnyo and 100 officials. Launching a coup, he enthroned Yongnyo's nephew, Gujang, as King Baiyang, while holding actual control of Goguryeo as Daemagniji, a position equivalent to a modern minister in dual office. At the beginning of his reign, Yeon Gusamun took a conciliatory position towards Tang China. For example, he favored Taoism at the expense of Buddhism, and to this end, in 643, he sent envoys to the Tang court and requested 8 Taoist sages to emigrate to Goguryeo. Some historians see this as an attempt to appease the Tang, and by time to prepare for a Tang invasion, which was inevitable, given Yun's ambitions to annex Silla. However, Yeon Gusamun took an increasingly provocative stance against the Zilla dynasty in Tang China. Soon, Goguryeo formed an alliance with Baekje and attacked Silla. Daesong and about 40 border fortresses were conquered by the Goguryeo-Baekje alliance. Since the early 7th century, Silla had been forced to defend by both Baekje and Goguryeo, who were not yet formally united, but both wanted to destroy Silla's power in the Han Valley. During the reign of King Jin Pyong Silla, numerous castles were lost to Goguryeo, and constant raids took their toll on Silla and its people. During Jinpyong's reign, Shila made repeated appeals to China to attack Goguryeo. Although these invasions were ultimately unsuccessful, in 643, once again under pressure from the Goguryeo-Baekje alliance, Jinpyong's successor, Queen Seondeok of Shila, appealed to the Tang for help. Although Tsong had initially rejected Shila's offers of tribute and requests for an alliance due to Seondeok being a woman, he later accepted the offer due to Goguryeo bellicose plans and increasingly hostile policy towards Shila and Tang. In 644, Tang began preparations for a major campaign against Goguryeo. In 645, Emperor Taizong, who had a personal ambition to defeat Goguryeo and was determined to succeed where Emperor Yang had failed, personally led an attack on Goguryeo. The Tang army captured a number of Goguryeo fortresses, including the important Yudong, Liaodong fortress. During his first campaign against Goguryeo, Taizong was famously generous to the defeated inhabitants of Goguryeo numerous castles, not allowing his soldiers to plunder and enslave the inhabitants, and when faced with protests from his commanders and soldiers, with his money they were rewarded. The city of Ansi, which was the last fortress to clear the Liaodong Peninsula of important defensive works, was quickly besieged. Initially, Taizong and his forces made a major breakthrough when his numerically inferior forces crushed a Goguryeo relief force at the Battle of Mount Jupel. Goguryeo defeat at Mount Jupel had significant consequences, as Tang forces killed more than 20,000 Goguryeo soldiers and captured another 36,800, crippling Goguryeo's manpower reserves for the rest of the conflict. However, a stubborn defense by the commanding General Ensi, whose name is disputed, but traditionally believed to be Yang Manchun, held off the Tang forces, and in late autumn, with winter fast approaching, and his resources running out, the Tang forces under the command of Prince Li Daozong, he attempted to build a rampart in a last-ditch attempt to capture the city, but failed when Goguryeo's forces managed to take control of it. Taizong then decided to retreat in the face of Goguryeo reinforcements, worsening weather conditions, and a difficult supply situation. The campaign was unsuccessful for the Tang Chinese, who failed to capture Ansi Castle after a long siege that lasted more than 60 days. Emperor Taizong attacked Goguryeo again in 647 and 648, but was defeated both times. Goguryeo's ambassadors during a meeting with the king of Samarkand Warkoman 648-651 ad. Wall paintings of Afrasiab, Samarkand. Emperor Taizong prepared another invasion in 649, but died in the summer, possibly from an illness he contracted during his Korean campaigns. His son Emperor Gaozong continued his campaign. At the suggestion of Kim Chunchu, the Silla-Tang alliance first conquered Baekje in 660 to destroy the Goguryeo-Baekje alliance, and then turned its full attention to Goguryeo. However, Emperor Gaozong was also unable to defeat Goguryeo led by Yun Gaesuman. One of Yun Gaesuman's most notable victories came at the Battle of Sasu in 662, where he destroyed the Tang forces and killed the invading general Pang Xiaotai and all 13 of his sons. Thus, as long as Yun Gaesuman was alive, Tang was unable to defeat Goguryeo to defeat. In the summer of 666, Yun Gaesuman died of natural causes, and Goguryeo was left in chaos and weakened by a succession war between his sons and his younger brother. He was initially succeeded by his eldest son, Yun Namsang, as Daemang Niji, the highest post newly acquired during Yun Gaesuman's reign. As Yun Namsang subsequently patrolled Goguryeo territory, there were rumors that Yun Namsang was planning to kill his younger brothers Yun Namjin and Yun Namsan, whom he had left in charge of in Pyongyang, and that Yun Namjin and Yun It was published. Namsan planned to rebel against Yun Namsang. When Yun Namsang subsequently sent officials close to him to Pyongyang to try to spy on the situation, Yun Namjin captured them and declared himself Daemang Niji, and attacked his brother. Yun Namsang sent his son Qian Hian Song, because Yun Namsang changed his last name from Yun to Qian. Emperor Gaozong saw this as an opportunity, and sent an army to attack and destroy Goguryeo. In the midst of Goguryeo's power struggles between Yun Gaesuman's successors, his younger brother, Yun Zhongto, sided with Shila. In 667, the Chinese army crossed the Liao River and captured the Xin fortress in Liaoning. The Tang forces then countered Yun Namjin's counterattacks and joined up with the fleeing Yun Namsang, receiving any possible assistance from him, although they were initially unable to cross the Yalu River due to resistance. In the spring of 668, Li Ji turned his attention to the northern cities of Goguryeo and captured the important city of Baiyou. In autumn 668, he crossed the Yalu River and besieged Pyongyang in coordination with the Silla army. Yun Namsan and Baiyang surrendered, and while Yun Namjin continued his resistance inside the city, his general, the Buddhist monk Shin Song, turned against him and surrendered the city to the Tang forces. Yun Namjin tried to commit suicide, but was caught and treated. This was the end of Goguryeo, and the Tang annexed Goguryeo into its own territory, with Xue Rongwei initially taking charge of the former Goguryeo territory as the general protector. The violent conflict caused by the death of Yun Gaesuman was the main reason for the victory of Tang and Shila. The alliance with Silla was also valuable thanks to the ability to attack Goguryeo from opposite directions, and Silla's military and logistical assistance. After the fall of Goguryeo, the Tang established the Andong Protectorate in Goguryeo's former lands. However, there was considerable resistance to Tang rule, instigated by Shila, who was unhappy that the Tang did not grant Goguryeo or Baekje territory, and in 669, following Emperor Gaozong's order, a section of the Goguryeo people they were forced to move to the area between the Yangtze River and the Hui River, as well as the areas south of the Qinling Mountains and west of Chamen, leaves only the old and feeble inhabitants of the mainland. Over 200,000 prisoners were taken from Goguryeo by Tang forces and sent to Chang'an. Some people entered the service of the Tang government, such as Gusagi and his son Gao Xiangxi, a famous general who commanded the Tang forces in the Battle of Talas. So Shila unified most of the Korean Peninsula in 668, but the kingdom's reliance on Tang China came at a price. To pacify the east, the Tang created a general protectorate under Zhou Rangui, but faced increasing problems with the former residents of Goguryeo, as well as Shila's resistance to a Tang presence on the Korean Peninsula. Shila had to forcefully resist the imposition of Chinese rule over the entire peninsula, leading to the Shila-Tang War, but their own power did not extend beyond the Taedong River. Although the Tang forces were expelled from the areas south of the Taedong River, Shila was unable to regain the former Goguryeo territories north of the Taedong River, which were now under Tang control. After the fall of Goguryeo in 668, many Goguryeo people rebelled against Tang and Shila, starting Goguryeo revival movements. Among them were Goguryeo, Daejeong-sang and several famous generals. The Tang dynasty tried but failed to establish several commanderies to rule the region. In 677, Tang appointed Buyang as king of Chosin and put him in charge of Liaodong's general defense to pacify the east. However, Buyang continued to rebel against the Tang in an attempt to revive Goguryeo, organize Goguryeo refugees, and unite with the Mo tribes. He was finally exiled to Sichuan in 681 and died the following year. General protection to pacify the east was established by the Tang government to rule and control the former territories of the fallen Goguryeo. It was first put under the control of General Tang Shui Rangwai, but was later replaced by Buyang due to negative responses from the people of Goguryeo. Buyang was sent into exile for helping the Goguryeo revival movements, but was succeeded by his children. Buyang's descendants declared independence from the Tang in the same era as the Lushan Rebellion and the Li Zhengji Rebellion in Shandong. The general defense was renamed Little Goguryeo to pacify the east until it was absorbed into the wings during the Xian reign. Goguryeo and Ansong briefly rose at Han Castle, in present-day Triyong County, South Huang Province, but were defeated when Ansong surrendered to Shila. Ansong ordered the assassination of Jianmuyam and took refuge in Silla, where he was given a small amount of land to rule over. There, Ansong founded the state of Bodiauk, raising a rebellion, which was quickly suppressed by Sinmun. Ansong was then forced to reside in the capital city of Shila, was given the bride of Shila, and forced to take the royal surname of Kim. After its fall in 668, Daejeong-sang and his son Dae-ju-yong, the former general of Goguryeo, or head of Mo, retook most of Goguryeo northern lands and founded the Jin Kingdom, which was renamed Bal after 713, in the south of Balai. Shila controlled the Korean Peninsula south of the Taedong River, and Manchuria, modern-day northeastern China, was conquered by Balai. Balai saw himself, especially in diplomatic correspondence with Japan, as Goguryeo successor. In 901, General Gongye rebelled against the united Shila, and later founded the new Goguryeo, renamed Taebong in 911, which considered itself the successor of Goguryeo. Later, Goguryeo originated in the northern regions, including Songguk, present-day Kaohsiung, which was the base of Goguryeo refugees. Later, the main capital of Goguryeo was established in Songguk, the hometown of Wang Gun, a prominent general under Gongye. Wang Gun was a descendant of Goguryeo and traces his lineage to a noble Goguryeo clan. In 918, Wang Gun overthrew Gongye and established Goryeo as Goguryeo successor, claiming Manchuria as Goryeo's true patrimony. Wang Gun united the three later kingdoms in 936 and Goryeo ruled the Korean Peninsula until 1392. In the 10th century, Balhae fell and many of its ruling class, and the last crown prince, Dae Gwanghaean, fled to Goryeo. Balhae refugees were warmly welcomed and incorporated into the ruling family by Wang Gun, who felt a strong family kinship with Balhae, thus uniting the two Goguryeo successor states.